Welcome to Free to Play Fridays with the Weatherman, and it couldn't be a better man to show you how to play a brand new deck. If you're new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button, hit the like, leave us a comment. Also, add me on Twitter at Team6KWeather. Check out Undead's video, the very last video posted to the channel. And now, let's get into this video. So here we've got Magical Musketeer, which is a very simple deck. I know you already see those 3 Forbidden Lance, and you're probably thinking, Weatherman. What forecast you telling right now, bro? That's not looking very free to play to me. And yes, my free to play definition is different than most, but I would say this probably does somewhat kind of go against mine. But we were given 2 dream tickets recently, so I would say you could have spent those 2 dream tickets, or if you still have them, you can still spend those 2 dream tickets on Forbidden Lance. As well as if you checked out the short about Undead, you know, he was telling you this is one of the cards that you would need. This is a really good staple that you're going to need alongside Book, Cosmic, and I don't remember what the 4th card was. That's my fault. Maybe I'm not keeping it Team 6K either. To get into the deck, we've got Magical Musketeer Starfire as the first card I'm going to talk about. All the Magical Musketeers have the first same effect, being that during either player's turn, you can activate Magical Musket spells and traps from your hand. That's really dope. So we don't actually have to set our spells and traps in this deck. They can't Cosmic or MST our back row away because it's not going to be on the field. It's going to be in our hand. They are essentially hand traps in this deck. Isn't that kind of cool? Next, all the Magical Musketeers have an effect that activates via a spell trap activating in their column from either side of the field. So if you activate a spell trap in their column, or if your opponent activates a spell trap in their column, you'll be able to activate their effect. So Starfire says if a spell trap is activated in her column, you'll be able to special summon a level 4 or lower Magical Musket from your deck. The level 4 or lowers that we play are Casper and my boy Doc right here. So what Casper says is if a spell trap is activated in his column, we can add a Magical Musket card from our deck. That is really nice, really goated. So you can actually activate one of the spell traps in his column and then search for another one of the spell traps. Isn't that goated? Next, we've got Doc. So Doc lets us actually recycle. If a spell trap is activated in his column, we'll be able to recycle a Magical Musket card from our graveyard. So we'll be able to get our spells, our traps, and our monsters from our graveyard back to our hand. So you could activate a Desperado, which is this guy right here, which lets you target a card on the field and destroy it, a face-up card on the field, my apologies, and destroy it. And then because you activated it in Doc's column, you'll be able to grab, let's say, that cross domination that you used earlier, which says you can target a face-up monster on the field until the end of this turn, change its attack and defense to 0. Also, it has its effects negated. So not only are we negating it, but we're reducing it. So we can actually use this in the damage step for some really nice plays outside of negating, even just going for game. Really good, because our guys really aren't big. We've got a 1200 attack guy, a 1300 attack guy, and a 1400 attack guy. So we're not very chunky. Lastly, we've got Magical Musket Dancing Needle, which lets us target 3 cards in the graveyard and banish the monster spell and trap, a triple DD Crow.
3 of them things?
Gross. So with Casper here, we're going to be able to, I should mention this, they do all have a little downside, right? Being that, well, Casper and Doc have a little downside. So with Casper, right, whatever card you use to prompt his effect to search, you're not going to be able to search for that same card. So let's say you've got Desperado here. You target a face-up monster or a face-up card, and you destroy it, and you activate it in Casper's column because you want to search for a Magical Musket card. Well, since you used Desperado to activate his effect, you can't search for Desperado. You can search for Dancing Needle, which is the triple DD Crow. You can search for Cross Domination, which is the negate, and you can search for Fiendish Deal here, which I didn't mention because it's the only not disruption Magical Musket spell trap that we play. So what it does is it stops our monsters from being destroyed by card effects. It says Magical Musket monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, and if this card in your possession is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, we can add a Magical Musket card from our deck or our graveyard to our hand. So this is really nice. Not only does it protect us from card effect destruction, but if it gets removed via destruction, then we're going to be able to get something to search something from our deck or recycle something from our graveyard. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. If you don't want to play this, I do see some people playing Solemn Scolding, which is actually pretty cool. It kind of makes it like a 4th Lance for the deck, because if we get booked or chaliced, it's not very great. our main disruption is having a magical musket on the field and then having magical musket spell traps. So if they chalice our guy or if they book our guy and flip it down, then we kind of do nothing. And we usually just have one monster on the field. So not very great if we don't have a lance to stop that. With Solemn Scolding here, you pretty much play a 4th lance. And with balance, you know, it kind of makes it so that you're kind of likely to open it, to be honest. It says if this is the only set card in your spell and trap zone, which it will be unless you open this and lance in the same hand, when a monster would be summoned or a spell, trap, or a monster effect is activated, you can pay 3,000 life points and negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy it. And this is a counter trap, so they can't respond to it. Once you activate this, it is essentially going to happen. There's pretty much nothing they can do about it. Now that I've pretty much spoken about all of the deck, all that's really left to talk about is the skill, and I'm playing balance. So the skill balance says your starting hand will reflect the card balance of your deck. This skill will not activate unless you have at least 6 of each card type, monster, spell, and trap in your deck, and you cannot special summon or activate monster effects until the end of the main phase of your first turn. Please remember that. You cannot special summon or activate monster effects until the end of your main phase, okay? So we are going to obviously still have our effects of during either turn you can activate magical musket spell traps from our hand, because this is not an activated effect. So we are going to still have that. But if you attempt to try to, let's say, pop a card with Desperado, right, and you activate it in Casper's column, you're not going to search if you're doing this in the main phase turn 1. You're not going to get your effect. So please keep that in mind when you're playing the deck. I'm not even going to talk about the extra deck because it is honestly irrelevant. I don't use it. I never used it. I would just say play whatever you have. The only card that I would say maybe consider is Gaga Samurai. But even then, like, if you don't have it, I wouldn't break your back over it. I wouldn't spend a dream on it. I wouldn't even drop the bread on the structure deck, to be honest with you. The extra deck is so irrelevant, man. This is a main deck. So let's get into some gameplay. Alrighty, so we're going first, and this is honestly a very, very simple hand. And to be real with you, every hand is very simple. The reason why I didn't show you how to do the turn 1 and how to do the turn 2 is because it is honestly not worth it. You are going to do this very strategic play of normal summon, set. And the set isn't even going to happen all the time. You only set if you have lance. If you don't have the lance, your turn is literally normal summon and end your turn. So we're going into them. They've got the book. We've got the lance. So we're going to protect ourselves so that we're still up. And sadly, he's got double book, so we can do nothing about it. So he's going to pretty much flip us down. We're guaranteed to get flipped down. Luckily for us, it seems like his hand was not the greatest, and it also cost him by opening those double books. So even though he had the double book to stop us, it kind of went against him. Now we're going to normal summon. As you see, we activated in our column, so we're going to be able to special summon a Casper from our deck, and we're going to attack. So now we've got the ability to, what we're going to do is more than likely activate our Desperado in our Casper's column so that we can actually search for another magical musket disruption, probably the negate if necessary, or the DD Crow being the dancing needle to get rid of 3 cards so that he can't fuse from his grave. So he's going to activate Contract. And he activates it in our column, so we're actually going to get to special summon with our Starfire. So now that he's activated to search, we're going to chain and pop it, and we're going to activate it in Casper's column so that we can search for another magical musket card. Now we've got Dancing Needle, which is our triple DD Crow. And he's got Swamp King. He's going to attempt to fuse using his graveyard. But look at it. He has exactly 3 monsters, and we've got a card that banishes exactly 3. So you can see where we're going from here. And he scoops it up. We're going first with a very standard hand. We're just gonna normal summon. Very standard hand. So we've got no lance to protect us. Hopefully he's got no book or any chalice. So we're going against Fortune Ladies. I have not the slightest clue what Fortune Ladies do. I do not remember. I do see he's trying to draw 2 cards, so I'm going to go for the negate. And remember, we activated in our column, so we're going to be able to special summon a level 4 or lower magical musket from our deck. And we're going to be choosing Casper, because Casper is going to allow us to search for another card if a spell trap is activated in his column. So now we're going to activate in Casper's column, pop in one of his cards to be able to search for another one. And we're going to search for the DD Crow, getting us our triple DD Crow with Dancing Needle. And then we're going to set our Forbidden Lance. Sadly, he Cosmics our Forbidden Lance, so we're not going to be able to keep it. But he activates Cosmic in Starfire's column, so we get our special summon off. He activates Compulse on his own card, which I thought was an interesting play, so that he could protect his life points. So we're honestly pretty set now. No Booker Chalice is turning us off. We have 3 muskets on the field. So he activates a spell trap in my column, which means I get to search. So I'm going to search for the Desperado. Now we have 1 of each of those bad boys. He's getting his summon off. I am going to go for my negate since he's going to go for the draw 2 again. Now this is a very interesting play right here. So he activates Magic Drain. When your opponent activates a spell card, they can discard 1 spell to negate this card effect. Otherwise, negate the activation of their spell card, and if you do, destroy it. Now, I just did a short about soft and hard ones per turns. Cross Domination is a hard ones per turn. It says you can only activate 1 magical musket cross domination per turn. However, he is negating the activation of my card. So it does say I can only activate it once. He negated my activation, so I never activated it. On top of that, this is Doc right here. And he just activated his spell trap in the same column as Doc, which means I get to get a magical musket card from my graveyard. Guess what card I'm gonna grab? Guess what card I'm gonna grab? We're gonna get back that cross domination. You were correct. And we haven't used it yet, so we can still actually get our negate. And at this point, I am sitting so good. I know I've won the game. This is Fortune, ladies. I don't have to know what they do to know that I won at this point. So I'm just playing with my food now. I activate to reduce him. He's gonna get destroyed and come back. I don't care. I'm just playing with my food, bro. Do what you gotta do. Banish your guy. Now I'm gonna pop you. And guess what? He's gonna banish again. And then what do you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna activate the 3rd card just because this was a waste of resources. I'm gonna be honest with you. You shouldn't do this. Don't be like me. Don't be like me in this game and play with your food. I just knew that it was over. It was a wrap. I knew there was nothing he could do about this, and it was gonna be game. That 1 card that he had set was not stopping me. And he surrendered because he knew. We both knew. We were just pretending like this was a game for the last 20 seconds. Going second this time. And we got double lance. Okay. So he's going to search for his guy to be able to special summon his guy because he does have a negate. He contribute 1 other insect monster he controls to target an effect monster that his opponent controls to negate it, but that doesn't really bother us. So we're just going to set 1 lance and we're going to attack. He's going to tribute, which I'm not really sure if that was a great decision, if he should have just kept it, but you know, whatever. Now, I did have double lance. You may be asking me, why didn't I set double lance? And I'm gonna be honest with you, maybe there's some magical musketeer pro that's, yo, bro, you should always set double lance, bro. I don't know what you're doing, bro. But to be honest with you, I just wanted to activate in the column. And to be real with you, this was kind of a risky move. But this is Battlewasp at the end of the day. I didn't think it would be that deep. I would just play it by ear. I just really felt like I would want to activate cards in my other magical musketeer column. Since I have Starfire on the field, I am going to be able to summon another one, and that is pretty much the reason. Also, as far as you may be asking yourself, where should you set Lance? I have actually been debating with myself, where should you set Lance? I want to set it in the same column. There's a lot of times where they don't have Booker Chalice, and you just don't activate it, so then you just have to activate it just to get your effect off because it's in their column. And I don't really want to be forced into that situation. So I don't know, maybe it's person to person, but personally I put Lance in a different column than the magical musketeer that I summoned. But let's get into this. So he's gonna activate Lightning Vortex. I have Forbidden Lance, bro. You're not destroying me. We're all good here. Summons his monster. And it looks like he was going to resummon. Yep, he was trying to special summon from the grave, and we are triple DD crowing. Getting rid of everything you got, bro. You can try your best against somebody else. And we're going to be able to special summon because we activated in the same column as Starfire. So we are looking pretty. And he scoops. Man, free to play or what? Free to play or what? We're out here getting dubs, man. Free to play does not mean anything, bro. You can still get dubs out here, man. If you appreciated the video, man, give us a like. Give me a comment. Give us a share. Tell everybody about us. Let them know that you appreciated us. And I got to go tell the forecast somewhere else. So Team 6K out.
Wait, hey, I feel like the greatest. Now I feel like they hate it. Now I feel like the only one and there is no debating. Man, I feel like they leaving. Now I feel like they waited. Now I feel like this is the feeling before I can make it. Before I hit the stage, I just feel like I'm nauseous. Or I feel like I'm popping. Or I feel like a boss is. Maybe I'm feeling off it. Or I feel like I'm toxic. Maybe feeling intoxicated is the reason for all this. I want to whip it with the top down, dog, like I'm Earth Gang. Told him, listen, wild day shine like my first name. Told me go and grab a titty boy, it's my first chain. I ain't even switch gears yet, it's the first lane. The first pain I ever felt was the worst pain. Then church came, and that feeling of hurt came. Then her name made this feeling all worth pain. She made me realize what I had felt in the first place.